Hello, and thank you again for joining us on this Metaphysical Sunday Service. Well, we go through the Course in Miracles here with Transcending Ascension. I am Reverend Diana Marie, and we started our lessons just last week with Lesson 1. Just to refresh, all about breaking down the ego. It's not just about breaking down the ego, but that is a large chunk of it in the beginning. It's so that you can change your perceptions, which will change your reality. This is to improve your reality, essentially. If you are new to us today, the reason we is to do our reality. It's what my entire teaching is about. All is mind. You actually control everything to such a powerful degree. You could honestly maybe pass out if you were seriously to completely fathom how big of a deal you are. But these lessons bring you through scotch by scotch by scotch, integrating you into this information. It's not the only thing that teaches this information. Beside me, it's filled with books teaching this information. It is endless, and it all has its own varying languages for describing the all is mind. You are controlling everything. Your mind and your thoughts need to be organized and disciplined and be thinking on the correct things of your aim and intent for what you want to manifest, no matter what. There's unfortunately no leeway on this. If you're sad, you're allowed to be sad, but you cannot let your thoughts dwell on anything you don't want to manifest, because that's what will happen. So let's get started with lesson 2. Okay. Lesson 2. I have given everything I see in this room, on this street, from this window, in this place, all the meaning that it has for me. The exercises with this idea are the same as those for the first one. Begin with the things you are near to you and apply the idea to whatever your glance rests on. Then increase the range outward. Turn your head so that you include whatever it is to either side. If possible, turn around and apply the idea to what was behind you. Remain as indiscriminate as possible in selecting subjects for its application. Do not concentrate on anything in particular, and do not attempt to include everything in an area, or you will introduce strain. Merely glance easily and fairly quickly around you, trying to avoid selection by size, brightness, color, material, or relative importance to you. Take the subjects simply as you can see them. Try to apply the exercises with equal ease to a body or a button, a fly or a floor, an arm or an apple. The sole criteria for applying the idea to anything is merely that our eyes have lightened on it. Make no attempt to include anything particular, but be sure that nothing is specifically excluded. So I have given everything in this room, everything, all the meaning that it has for me. So what is that saying to you? That is saying you are creating perceptions in your life. So it's the same thing as last week. It's just that important. And it does squeak by in this manner, where it is shifting you and shifting you and shifting you into higher perceptions. You made everything up about how important it is. For even example, like this book. If this book and these words, like if you don't speak English, if English is your another language for you, and I'm reading you this book and it doesn't sit, the perceptions of the words are not the same. It's not in your language. So it doesn't hit the same way it's hitting me, because my perceptions are going to have so many varied reasons. Not to mention, like, it's funny because I wasn't raised Christian whatsoever. This is written in, it's apparently from Jesus, but it's the Christ consciousness. It's channeled material from higher sources. And I've had many experiences with lots of situations, and they can say they're anybody, but that doesn't mean they're the bad guy. It's because they're pulling out of your own mind what fits, and that Jesus character fits with all of us. It even fits with me, and I was raised an atheist, so I think it's a DNA thing as well. Carl Jung himself said that because he was big into studying the Eastern philosophies, but your own DNA will actually help you get to the divine better, because every religion can be correct if done to the fullest, because we are God. The long and short of it is you are God. You are that much of God. You're all of God in this human ability. And people go, yeah, but, because the ability to get this person to completely believe with every fiber of their being, and 95% of that is unconscious. So you are getting the unconscious mind. So your sleeping self, your automatic self, your cells in your DNA, because that's all run by the subconscious mind. We can change our DNA. We can change our coding. So you can say, oh, well, my coding and my genetics holding me back. Epigenetics prove we can change our DNA, but that is all in the subconscious. So the curing of disease, miracle healings, all that stuff, definitely possible. But when we're talking about really, which I have done it. It's not the same life anymore. It's a completely different life, a completely different person, a completely different trajectory. And it hasn't just done that once. It happens in incremental shifts. So you can go from one person to the next, but that's not where you're going to stay. I don't even know if we ever land permanently. Like, that's what I'm realizing. Because okay, well, when am I in the age we're in right now? Unless we shift that timeline over to all of a sudden being done, like 2027 means, oh yeah, we're done ascending, we're great, we're doing fantastic, boop, it's there, it's happened. And that's why I think a lot of 5D'ers get on that, oh, we're gonna pop into the new dimension, because wouldn't that just right? Let's do no work for it. Let's just be peace, love, and light, and just pop into it. Maybe that happens for them because they can truly believe it to that degree. However, all the ancient evidence, all the current evidence, quantum physics, all such scientific but metaphysical information kind of does not line up with the instant pop. We could definitely do poppy shifts. I've had that happen. I've seen flashes of light. I've had sudden shifts in perception, and we've heard of anointings and moments like that. Well, that's not exactly the same, because a shift is, they're ball touching calibers. It's energy work, and so it's hard in language, but you get to experience energy work right now. You probably are experiencing, you probably know what I mean. If you're watching me, you know what it's like to get into that meditative heart space, and if you don't do it, and what your energy feels like, because when you make a shift, you feel it. And it's not necessarily in the outside world. The outside world on the exact same, but now all of a sudden your internal reality of how you see things, perceive, deal with things, and therefore manifest things going in the future can all of a sudden be switched like that instantly. So that's where shifts come in like that. It's in your own perceptions, and it doesn't even have to happen for a reason. I've had it happen for epiphanies. I had it happen just because I was at the beach staring at the sun. I've had it happen sitting in this chair after making a really stressful video that I didn't even end up keeping up, because I don't know. I still have to get through that one. But I had a huge experience that just an anointing, like fire came over me, and wham, I was a completely different person from henceforth. Like, but that wasn't done though. There was no done. It just shifting here and there and everywhere for all these different reasons. Now, what this book is fantastic for is every day, and you'll make huge shifts. Like the year I read this, because it's meant to be a year. It's one a day for a year, but we're doing it over one a week, so we're going to go pretty slow on this, but it's okay, because it gives as a ground floor, because we're in a, when you go to Sunday service at a church, they have a Bible, right? And when I've always wanted to do this, and then when I first brought the Sunday services, I don't want it to lack clarity. I don't want to get rambly. I don't want to either. I just have a grounding. And what does normal church have? It has a grounding in the Bible. I tried. If you go back, I even tried the Gospel of Thomas and the Gnostic Gospels. I did this before with them. I can't. It's not there for me. It's just not there for me. But it isn't this book. We all have our own things where it's in. For me, it's in this book. Honestly, I could probably show you a bunch of books right now. It's in it for this book. This is what I'm reading right now, though. This is what I'm learning right now. I've already learned A Course in Miracles. But the beautiful thing about something that's so powerful is that you learn again and again and again and again. Like the audio I'm doing, the Physics of Consciousness, I've read that a couple times and then I play it again, and it's just woo, like it's revolutionary to what this material can do to our perceptions. And when we change our perceptions, we thereby change our reality. And whatever you want, you decide. Like we keep talking about a golden age, and that's one thing I used to get caught up on is like especially the material of him, and I watch his stuff, and they're all very in the forest, buying. And I just don't see that for me. I'm love my family. I have children, and they say so many times, go to yourself, in thyself, to thine own self be true. So what is my manifestation of the golden age different images? Is that projected image a bad image? No. If you want that, go get it. Like the sunshine, olden day hippie 60s thing. I think the 60s thing didn't last for many reasons. It didn't help with they were not necessarily grounded in reality. And I've read books from these Buddhist 60s people that legit went and did. I have another one of their books right here. They legit went and did the pilgrimage, and like he's Lama Das, but his name's like Steve or something. It's not Steve, but he's just a normal guy that did the 60 things, went to Tibet, worked with lamas, and eventually came back and realized his teaching was actually in how to be spiritual as a Westerner, like in this Western society. And they even said, like, you're allowed, when you go to a monastery and that's all you do, meditate all day, that's not a life. And being a hippie in the forest, on your bongo, that's fun for a retreat, but is that a life either? So what is your life going to look like? Because first start to map that out. Been doing that, and it's going fantastic. Like, what do you actually want your life to look like? I realized I'm actually a writer. This is like my service to God. That it's not, I love this. I do love this. But like, if I was to actually envision, like, what am I going to be famous for and super successful for, that would be my writing. That would be my writing. A very like not talk to public people person. It's easy to talk to camera. I'm looking at my own face. I'm just talking to myself. So like this is natural. If this was to like blow up and all of a sudden I'm like talking to lots of people, I used to like think about doing TED Talks and stuff like that. And it's like, that would probably kill me. Like, and then I could keep shifting my timeline. But then I got to a point, because I was trying to do that. That's what I was trying to do. Where intention just could not match me. And there was just so much shifting that would have to be done in that part of me. But I really of my starseed self, of my Palladian, Lyrian, angelic, ancestrian, like all that magic, because I have a ton of energy. Oh my goodness, I'm an empath. Like I have so many open centers. Like if you're into human design, it straight up shows it in my charts. I'm so open. So like I can't be around people if they're just like penetrating me. Sure, I can bubble in and I know how to do it. But is that how I want to spend my whole life? And like constantly, like that's my success? Because I want success. I don't think that's necessarily the ego to want success. I think the divine wants us to be successful. And this is the growing thing with women. It's like, I actually still want a job, and that might just because I'm a millennial. Like, I don't want to be a working mother, but that's why writing is perfect. I already put out one kid's book. I have another one coming out soon, and it's just going really well, and it flows naturally. I've always written poetry. What held me back was I'm not an artist. I don't know how to draw, and again, I'm not social, so I don't want to ask her who's an artist. She said no, and I'm like, but I didn't want to let it go. And I've always thought about it, but the artist thing held me back. And just asking her took a lot. I don't ask people for stuff. But then I realized I know digital design. I went to school, well, for broadcast journalism, but I had to do computers and designing and all that stuff. Last job that I just had was digital design. And it's most of us do nowadays. It's pretty easy. So ish, if you know what you're doing. So anyways, that's what I did. And out came a book, and it's fantastic. And I don't know. It's just that's amazing. That's amazing. And it popped out of nowhere, just from all these things that already existed in my life. Like all these things. Like when I graduated high school, I said I was going to be a writer. I did publish a book when I was in my early 20s. but I didn't get it edited properly because I was in my early 20s and dumb. Literally, I got too excited about putting out the book and didn't want to take the time to do it properly. And it was an adult book. It was a whole novel. I actually think it's really good. Maybe I'll revamp it one day, but it doesn't matter because I moved on. I got jammed up in how that was done wrong and how a lot of people get jammed up in failures. And then they never realize, like, okay, just because I failed at this one thing one time does not mean it's still not my future. And then I've always had this pull to children. But then I was like, but being just a mom, it just doesn't spot enough. Like, I tried like school curriculum. I've reached out to like online. Like I've reached out for school curriculums. I'm still actually talking to making an actual online curriculum for children. And here I am though this whole time making the books that can be part of that school curriculum. So like even if like it could still grow and like that's my avenue. I'm probably not supposed to tell you my avenue. I don't know. I let me know what you think about that. You hear, don't tell people you. Well, that's people that are going to poo on it. So don't poo on my dreams. But it's not just my dreams. It's my lived intent. It's my actions are being put behind it because it's all of it. It's when you're dealing and you're manifesting, it's the mind. You have to believe it. You have to believe you deserve it. You also like, not just like you have to deserve it, which usually means being someone deserving because you can try to trick your mind. Like I used to, when I earlier on, still struggle with this sometimes, but not anymore. Knock on wood. But eating healthy, and I said, oh well, this was mine, and change my molecular structure, so this bag of chips is not going to hurt me as much. Yeah, to a point, actually, because you can like, well, if you're going to eat McDonald's, happy about it. I at least, but still, like, there's things that we know and we can change it with our all is mind, but it just goes so much smoother and so much better if we manifest for who we naturally are while also trying to raise ourselves higher. Well, also, like, there's so many things that we can do, is mind, but working within our current paradigm rules of humanity, not society, of being the human flesh, that helps. That's something like I used to get stuck on, like jumping right to superhuman. That's why this book is good because it teaches you patience. You go through day by day by day to the point where you're like, oh, this is just so dumb. Because every day is a similar thing. But then by the end of it, you're like, I am not the same person anymore whatsoever. Like there's people I bet that probably I can't confirm this, but I don't see why not. There wouldn't be somebody showing their journey of going through the book. It's I don't know. It's amazing. Have to keep fighting fast enough for you go get it yourself. Because we're gonna keep this going. So I'll close this off for now. This is the name of the game, manifestation. I'm trying to help you learn this person to bring you to the divine on this sacred day. To remember you are first and foremost. If I teach you anything, remember you are God. You are divine. The all is mind. Monitor and control your thoughts, but in a divine, aligned, truthful, authentic way. Knowing thyself is key because you really know yourself. Like, know I can't be in public that easily. Gets torture. So work within that. Okay, work within that. I need to eat very healthy. Like specific. Like I'm very. I get, but even vegetables cause me problems. So, but anyway, that's my humanness of the paradigm. I'm working, but always still growing, still like pushing to how you can make all that stuff better. But when you work within your paradigm, find what suits naturally for you. I'm telling you, when I sat down to write those books, oh my God, like they say, when you find something that's meant for you, my goodness, was it easy and beautiful and so fantastic. And I love seeing it tangibly there. Like I love doing online stuff, but I'm not gonna lie, it feels like it's not real sometimes, even when I do podcasts with people, because I don't know them. Like I have podcast friends, I've never met them, and they live like in other parts of the world. So it's so funny to like be friends with people that you've actually never met. I knew with energy we're still there, but it's nice because book I got to buy it, and I got a bunch of author copies, and I got to touch them, and like, this is real. I did this. So it's just wonderful. I was gonna say, no, I don't have a copy over there. I have one over there. I'm looking at it. Maybe next week I'll show you. I'm not trying to sell it or be a whatever, but if you want kids to have a metaphysical book, that's what got me to keep thinking about it, because there is not kids material for metaphysics. There just isn't. There needs to be more, and they need to know this, especially because I was raised atheist. So I feel like they say like your trauma and your pain is where your purpose is. Being raised an atheist, I could have, if I had known. The books I read now, written in, like that one I just showed you was in the 90s. Another one I'm reading, that's a Palladian one, written in the 90s. It's like, I grew up in the 90s. I'm born in the 80s, but really I grew up in the 90s. And that would have been so helpful if there had been some books that could have helped me besides the Bible, because that was all that was around, which is, I'm not going to complain about that, but I will say goodnight to you now. Goodbye. Have a great morning, actually, and we'll talk to you soon. Transcending Ascension.